Welcome to the Red Half of Sheffield. This is a YouTube channel by two American Blades fans. I'm joined, as always, by Mr. Chad Jarvis, and it is transfer deadline day. The window closes in about 15 minutes here. This is probably going to come up on our YouTube channel well after those 15 minutes have expired. But we wanted to do a little video here just to kind of talk about the business that Sheffield United have done in this transfer window, how we rate this window as far as the signings are concerned, and then where we go from here. Is this a team that can stay up? Is this a team that, can push forward and maybe take a few big scalps from the bigger sides in the Premier League? Chad, how are you doing today?
Oh, not bad. Not bad. About 5 or 6 beers in, so I'm ready to get this bad boy rolling. How are you now?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well, avoiding the casual alcoholism today, but no, I'm doing well. It's about 2:45 here on the West Coast, and yeah, I'm no beers in right now, but I am going to be celebrating later tonight. Decent window, I think. We have had, I think, probably one of the better transfer windows that I can remember, and certainly probably either our second best transfer window in the Premier League, or maybe the best transfer window that I can remember. That first season up in the Premier League, we did some good business. Some players worked, some players didn't. But, at the end of the day, I think that this is a transfer window, especially if we stay up, that will be long remembered by Sheffield United fans. What are your
Yeah,
overall takes, Chad?
yeah. I think it's decent. You'll probably be shocked on my rating when we get to ratings, but I think it's a good window. I mean, obviously losing your two best players, and then kind of felt like everybody started scrambling to sign players then, and then we uh we brought in a decent few names through the door. Some familiar, some not familiar. Yeah, I mean, so it sets up well for us. And honestly, I think you take tomorrow's game at time of recording against Everton almost with a grain of salt, because we have so many interchanging parts
Mm-hmm.
that tomorrow's probably not going to be our best side. We could go get stuff 4-0 against Everton, and everybody's going to be like, oh, we're already down, already down. Then we have an international break. You get a week, 2 weeks for players to train, get used to everybody. Obviously, we're going to have a couple of international call ups, so that's going to hurt us a bit, but it's going to get the side almost more cohesive to where
Gelling,
we can hit the ground running, albeit we have Spurs and I believe Newcastle after the international break. So probably not the best sides we want to face, but it is what it is. The transfer window is going to close. We're kind of dealt with the team we have now, and we have to make the best of it come the end of the season. Hopefully that puts us on the right side of the line and we're staying up.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. Obviously, look, we can talk about Iliman and Jai and Sander Berge going out in this transfer window. All the good it's done for Iliman and Jai sat on the bench today for Marseille. But you know what? He made that choice at the end of the day. He has to live with it. And Sander Berge has apparently been invisible at Burnley and has not had the greatest start to the season. And look, they're both transfer window and how they've started the season is kind of reflective of that. I mean, do you think we've had a better transfer window than Burnley?
Uh, it's I'd say we're about level. I mean, it's hard to rate transfer windows because I mean this is almost like in the NFL when they have the mock drafts and then they have the drafts and they want to have the report card straight after the draft and say, oh, this team killed it, this team sucked. Only time will tell in transfer windows, and I don't know if it's right to compare our transfer window with Burnley because our eyes were set on different targets than theirs. And so, I mean, it's comparing the two. I don't think in my mind is the right thing to do, but I'll go ahead and say it's probably level pegging. I mean, we're two teams that are about in the same spot of this table, haven't won a damn game, 0 points. So I mean, it's who kicks on now from this point, and where do we finish come the end of the season compared to Burnley? Or Burnley finishing second where everybody had them, you know, on this pedestal to start the season with Vincent company and their whole side, and us finishing 24th in the championship, even though people, I don't know, some people don't even know we're in the Prem. But, it might be at the end of the day where, we finish ahead of them and we might pip them for staying up and they get relegated, and everybody else is like, oh, oh my God, we can't believe the greatest side besides Man City got relegated. Oh my God. Oh man, they were supposed to have 98 points and City were going to have 100. Oh man, we can't. Oh, JJ Watt. Oh my God. But it is what it is. Piss on them,
Yeah.
move on.
Yeah. I think what you said is fair. I don't know if comparing, I just asked you to compare them, but I think you're right. I don't know if, direct comparison is apt at this point, but what I will say is I'm happy with what we brought in. I think we did just about as well as you can do with the budget that we had. At the end of the day, look, we spent approximately, if all of the sums are to be believed, of what we spent on players, over 55 million pounds to bring in the 8+ players that we brought in.
So much for that $20 million or 20 million pound allotment we had to start
Well,
the transfer window.
I think you and I speculated that. And listen, obviously we've already spent the money that we got from both Illiman and Jai and Sanderberger,
Mm-hmm.
but that was we couldn't factor that in at the time. I think if you take out those two players, I think we spent closer to 30 million, minus what we were paid for those two players.
Yeah.
So what I want to do here, Chad, is just kind of run down, in reverse chronological order, because we haven't talked about James McAtee yet, and talk about how we think, the particular transfer or loanee is going to fit into our side. So, starting with James McAtee, we know him, we love him, very, very excited to have the lad back. Obviously, it was announced, I think, at about 3 or 4 p.m. BST today in England, so he won't be available tomorrow against Everton. But at the same time, we know exactly.
I heard he was. I
Oh,
heard he
really?
is. Yes, I think
He is.
I think, in contrary to everything on we won't know until the lineups come out, but I think he is
Yeah.
available to start against or play against Everton tomorrow.
So he had to put pen to paper before noon today.
I think
They make the announcement a few hours after that point. So it's entirely plausible that you're correct, Chad. I heard just, through the in the knows who are, sometimes are not so in the know, that he didn't. But if he did, do you throw him right in the side tomorrow against Everton?
No, I don't. I think you roll with your projected lineup that you had going into this and bring him on as a sub, maybe 65, 70 minutes. We all know that Hecky won't make subs until the 89th minute, so he'll come on about 88:30, and he'll play about 6 minutes, and that'll be about it. But no, I don't think he starts. I'm going to eat my words because the lineup going to come out and he's going to be popped right there in the midfield, and it's going to be James McAtee, the Man City loanee, starts for United. So, I'm okay if he starts. He's just hasn't played a lot for Man City. So it's almost getting a player that is had about a half-ass preseason, not really anything too crazy. He played a lot in the preseason. I think he came on for a couple of sub appearances to start the season. So he's got minutes in the legs. I don't know if we kind of handle him with kid gloves for the first game, and then after the international break, throw him in the side, and he'll be a starter the rest of the season. But I don't know. It's tough to say at this point.
Yeah, I mean, so what I want to quickly do here to just kind of interrupt these proceedings, I want to take a look at the side that we started against Palace. Okay, let's bring that up really fast. So Fotheringham, Ahmed Hodzic, Egan Robinson, no changes there. Baldock, Basham, Norwood, and Lowe. Traore, Asula, and Osborne. Okay, so I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players. Five of basically half of our outfield players are probably not going to be starting tomorrow that we started against Palace. Here is my personal projected lineup for tomorrow. Fotheringham, Ahmed Hodzic, Egan, Robinson, Baldock, Thomas on left wing, Hamer, Norwood, Souza, Archer, and either McBurney or McAtee, maybe just falling in a little bit behind Archer. I don't think that McAtee will start now that we're talking about it, but this is, I think, what our best 11 is going to look like throughout the season. I mean, do you kind of agree with that, Chad?
The only change I would make to that is I probably would take Norwood out, put McAtee in that spot, and play that role as a more advanced role. Then you
Yeah,
have Hamer and Souza, and McAtee and McBurney have that link up play from last season paired with Archer. I think that's how you finish the game.
yeah,
I'm in the same boat, obviously, as you about not starting McAtee, but I think that's our lineup going forward. Was just taking Norwood out, putting McAtee in that almost Illman and die role, and having that link up play between the front two, because he's probably and granted, we can't get on his back for a couple of stray passes in the first couple of games. He's never played in this league in an impactful side that's in a relegation fight so early in the season. So he's going to take a couple of games like he did last year to get, gelled into this side. So, if we come back after, whoever we have after Newcastle, after the international break, I think that's when you like to see McAtee probably at full go, and that's where he's
mhm.
seeing the pitch, and his field vision is probably where it was when it finished last season. So I mean, I like your lineup. I would just change that Norwood role to McAtee, and that's probably what'll be the change come the 89th, 90th minute tomorrow.
I think it's really going to come down to who we're playing. If we're playing a Luton Town, for instance, I think you maybe try to go more attacking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if we're playing an Arsenal, if we're playing a Liverpool, a Manchester United, a Newcastle, we're probably going to look more defensive. That's when you set Norwood up, to fall in just a little bit behind Hamer, and then Souza probably is going to play a little bit more behind as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Hamer's going to try to get more forward, but at the same time, we have that defensive midfielder in Souza there as well. Like that projection lineup, I don't think that's how it's actually going to look on the pitch. We're not playing a flat three in midfield. Souza's going to play a little bit more back. Norwood might as well. And then Hamer's going to be kind of given the freedom to go forward, be more attacking. He's not going to be an attacking midfielder, but he will be more attacking, say, than a Vinny Souza.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
So getting back into the content that we were aiming to produce here originally, Luke Thomas. Let's talk a little bit about Luke Thomas on loan from Leicester City. He's a left back. He has a lot of Premier League experience. I think he played like almost 90 games for Leicester City over the last couple of seasons. Not anything super special, but he'll do in a pinch, and he's better than what we've got. Does he go right into the side for you tomorrow with a few days of training?
I mean, yes. If not, you put Hamer out on that left hand side and bring McAtee. Maybe McAtee starts in where Hamer would start, but I mean, yeah,
at left back, at left wing back,
back. Yeah, I mean, because we're so short there. I mean, I don't think there's any.
I'd say
reason why
LaRucci more.
Nah, that dude can pack sand for me. Um, but I would change it up a little bit. I mean, if you don't bring Luke Thomas in that left wing back, maybe experiment down that left hand side with Hamer. But I mean, yeah, we do have Lurucci, who I don't know why everybody's raving about him. To me, I don't think he could pass a ball in a 2 foot square. But it's so hard to say whether heck he's going to slot him right in. Has he been training with the boys since he came in the side? We don't know. If that is the case, he might get thrown in there because let's be honest, our left side's our weakest side right now.
Yeah, it is. No, you're absolutely right, and I do think that we are going to see Everton try to expose that left hand side. If there's not the defensive trust in a Larucci, then maybe you do throw Luke Thomas in there and just kind of see what the kid's made of.
Yeah, I mean
that's what I do personally.
Yeah, I would agree, and especially in a game where both teams don't want to lose tomorrow.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I agree with your take. I think it's going to be pretty low scoring tomorrow. For most of you probably watching this will have already watched the match because, we're, I think, only 12 hours away from that match taking place ish. But, at the same time, I do think it's an opportunity for him. And I hope that Hecky selects him tomorrow just because I think it's better than what we've got.
Yeah.
Moving along, Cameron Archer. I mean, we all know what this lad can do at championship level. Was fantastic last season. Arguably one of the best players in the championship. And this is kind of what we knew what we were going to do. We knew we were going to try to pick out some of the best players from the championship to see if they could go at this level. Don't love the deal, personally. It's a glorified loan. But, by the same token, he does well this season. He keeps us up. I don't know if he's single-handedly going to keep us up, but I think his contributions could help keep us up this season if we are going to be staying up. If he does keep us up, it does look a much, much better deal. And, we can build with him and McBurney as a striking core of the future. I mean, I know that we're going to have to renegotiate McBurney's deal this year. I think how we do this season is going to inform that decision at the end of the season. But, at the same time, McBurney and Archer, I think that's a pretty decent striking pair. It's not bad.
Yeah, I think it'll produce goals. The pair of them together, obviously midweek was their first game ever together, so I think they're going to grow that relationship even more and more. And I think with the better chance of a link-up play through the midfield is going to lead to more goals, and that's where we've been lacking in the first 3 games. So, I mean,
Yep.
yeah, I'm excited to see what these 2 players can do.
Absolutely. Tom Davies, we haven't really seen yet, has not featured for United to this point. He's a squad player for me, just somebody that we need, that we can throw on, and maybe he'll get minutes towards the end of games, especially if we're trying to close out games and there are tired legs in that midfield. I think he can do a job for us. But at the end of the day, I mean, he'll probably get maybe like 400 minutes this season. I don't really see him featuring a lot. He's going to get 15, 20-minute stretches on the back half of games. Or, unfortunately, if things go bad and we have a slew of injuries, yeah, we'll probably slot him in there. But again, another experienced midfielder at this level, at the Premier League level. And, it doesn't hurt to have a player like that. He's still kind of trying to re-kickstart his career. But I don't think, based on what I've seen, I don't think he's a bad player. I just think he's going to be riding pine a lot for most of this season.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't, unless we hit a mid-season injury crisis, I think that's the only way he's getting in the side.
Yeah. Moving right along, Gustavo Hamer, however you want to say it, already demonstrated his quality in the first 2 games that he's played for United this season. Didn't really have a lot of. Did he play? Wait, he played on Wednesday, right? I can't remember offhand. Did he play?
No, he did not.
No. Well, okay, good, because that makes me feel a little bit better about that loss against Lincoln City because it was just so awful and drab. If he had been in it, it would have boded, I think, a little bit worse that, with Gustavo Hamer, we couldn't break down a League One side, and basically, I think probably going to be towards the middle of the table towards the end of the season. Lincoln City, not 100% sure, but we'll see what happens. He showed his quality, Gustavo Hamer, scoring that goal against Nottingham Forest. Unfortunately, because we were defending most of the game, he didn't really have a chance to show what he can do on the ball. He didn't get a lot of the ball. I think this game against Everton, he is going to have the opportunity to show what he can do with the ball at his feet, picking out good passes, maybe having a couple decent shots from outside the box, maybe scoring. Again, another one of those championship players from last season who was one of the best in the league for Coventry. He was amazing. So it's a great deal. He's our player. No messy, glorified loan business with him. I think he's going to be our, midfielder for the future. Playing, I think, kind of akin to what Fleck was doing. But he's better than Fleck. I think he's better than Sander Berge.
Yeah, I mean,
thus.
I'd say he's an upgrade, but I'm passing judgment on these players until they play about 10 games for us. It's really hard. It's really hard to judge where they are now in this side. Once they have other players around them, then I can make a
better judgment.
Come to me at the end of October, and I'll let you know my honest opinions whether who's should just be shipped back out or who should be in our side every single weekend. So, Hamer, he looked good against Nottingham Forest. And in Man City, he kind of went missing for a good majority of the game, but obviously against the champions, we're not going to have possession. He's not going to have really much of an influence. So I'm curious to see how he does against Everton tomorrow.
Definitely me too. Vinny Souza, I think probably the biggest surprise out of the bunch thus far in how he's played, what he's demonstrated. And I think there's a real player in there. I think he's going to become a fan favorite because, he's just a big guy and he likes to tackle. And once he's up to full fitness, because again, he didn't have that full preseason, I think he's really going to show the quality that he has. I mean, if you look online, he's already becoming a fan favorite from, the United supporters. And if he keeps on playing in the manner that he did, both against Nottingham Forest as well as against Man City, I think he is going to be, like I said, an absolute fan favorite. So I'm very happy. I think 10 million probably may have been a little bit of an overpayment. I think maybe 7 or 8 million probably would have been more appropriate. But at the same time, we needed that position. We needed somebody who could come in and be defensive in the midfield. And he's an auto start for me at present. Just every game he auto starts for me until he demonstrates that he is not playing up to level.
I think he's the one that's not scared to put in a tackle, a 2-footed tackle or a 1-footed tackle, whatever it may be, and win the ball back. I think he has a set of cojones on him that he's not really scared of this league. So at this time of the season, he's a every game starter for us, and let's see what he's got, and maybe he turns that 10 million into next year. We sell him for 20, maybe 15, 20 million to somebody else. Yep. You never know. I mean, he seems to be, a lot of people slagged him off when they signed him because no one really knew about him, but he's doing fine right now.
Agreed. Austin Trusty, the American from Arsenal, was on loan at Birmingham last season. We haven't seen enough of him to this point because Jack Robinson has not lost his shirt yet. I didn't see a minute of the game against Lincoln City, but everybody said he was fine in defense. Obviously, we got the clean sheet, conceded no goals through 90. And, I think that speaks to him not really having major falters at the back. But at the same time, it's Jack Robinson's shirt to lose at present. So we'll kind of see how things develop. I think there might be, when we get Wednesday, Saturday, come December, there will be a Tuesday or Wednesday, Saturday. Maybe that is an opportunity to slot Trusty in there and give Jackie Longthrow a break. But until then, it's Jack Robinson's shirt to lose. There'll be competition, of course, in training, and Hecky will be observing. But, at this point, Robinson in for me every time. He's been our best defender thus far into the season.
No, I would agree, and I think Trusty is one built for the future. It's kind of just, get him in, get his feet wet here and there, here and there, here and there, and then, as Jackie Longthrow, gets to the twilight of his career, Trusty is able to step into his spot. So yeah, the future is bright for him, for Trusty.
Definitely. Benny Adama Traore. I like what I've seen from him so far. I know you don't. I know you're not a fan, but again, you have to take into consideration the step up that he's taking, going from playing at Häcken in Sweden to starting in the Premier League, playing with the big boys. And this season, now that we have Archer and McBurney back, he's going to be third, fourth choice striker. So he may get minutes, especially late in the games when maybe we need some pace up front. That's what he's going to fill. He's not going to hold up the ball. That's just not how he's going to be playing the game. He's going to be looking for balls over the top, cheeky through balls through the midfield, beating that back line. But I do think that there will be a story to tell for him this season. I can see him scoring goals at some point. He just hasn't showed it yet. That first touch, bringing down balls, what he did against City, and apparently he did it the other day against Lincoln City. Doing that first touch, I think is a skill that not a lot of players have. So having that in his wheelhouse, I think we can utilize that at some point. He doesn't start for me. He's not going to start many games throughout this season. I think he's done the majority of his starts already, 3 games into the season. But again, someone you want to have, in your back pocket to come on 75th, 80th minute, see out a game, just running onto balls that are just kind of booted out of the defensive half when the other team is coming at us. I think that's the role he's going to probably play the rest of the season.
Yeah, doesn't do it for me. I'll keep this one short. Just doesn't do it for me. I don't see it. Yeah, there was a couple of videos of his one touch out of 7,000 touches against Man City, or 17.
He didn't have that
touches.
many.
Yeah, I was going to say one of 17 touches. The rest of them, he hasn't been within a country mile of this league. Obviously, yes, he has to adapt to it. I know the whole rigors. I'm an idiot for saying, he doesn't need to be in the. I get that. But I just don't think – I think we reload him for next year in the championship. I would think he –
I like how we're 3 games in, you already have us going down.
Because everybody knows I hate this league. So I just think he's more suited for that league and not for this league to get his feet, obviously, like you said, he's going to get sprinkled in, feet wet over the next 35 odd games. And if we do go down, I think he is better inept to play in that league because
for sure.
Because it's almost similar to like the likes of Archer, the likes of Brewster. Ben Traore would be almost following the same mold as those players in the championship, where they run on the balls. You get more space in the back because the players are slower in the whole deal. So I think he would be able to like smash in that league. Not so much in this league where you're going up probably against a good majority of the best players in the world.
Yeah, I do think he does need to be blooded a little bit in the championship, but it's not going to be this season. I think that at some point, if we do stay up this season, he's a player I could see being sent out on loan to the championship next season. But as of this moment, we need him. We need him just as a squad filler. Again, the season's so young. We'll see what happens with Benny Adama Traore. But at this point, you're right. Not quite up to Premier League speed, but we will see what happens. Second, our penultimate person that we're going to talk about right now, Yasa Larouci. I know. I feel I'm a little bit more inclined to say he's not showed it at this point. The mistakes that he's made thus far, I think, have cost us a point, first and foremost, this past weekend. And he's just not – I just don't think he's quality. I just don't – I mean, it says a lot about the fact that we brought in another left back or left wing back. Once Benno got injured, once Max Lowe got injured, I think it says more about him than it does about those other players. Yeah, he's a bench. He'll fit on the bench. He can come into the game at some point. Probably a time waste sub at the 89th minute, as you kind of alluded to before. But yeah, he's not good enough for this level, unfortunately. So I don't want. I just kind of want to leave it there, Chad. Unless you have anything else that you want to say about Larouci. And then finally, I think the biggest question mark, because we've not really seen him play at all, is Anis Ben Slimani. I think he was probably coming out of the preseason, the player that most people were the most excited about. But at this point, it remains to be seen. He hasn't started at this point. I think he is a squad/bench player for me. I don't think he's going to be seeing a ton of minutes. I think it's the same thing as Tom Davies. He's probably going to see minutes. He's going to replace Amaka, in the 80th minute. That's what his role is going to be this season.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And I can sum up the signings. We were going when we started with the likes of Slimani and Larouci, and then we kind of hit a peak after we sold Ndai and Berg, and it kind of finished on an upward trajectory. Just back to Slimani, Larouci, I'll just say Larouci doesn't need to be in the side. He's not anywhere close to this league. He's the same as Slimani. I don't know if Slimani is gonna do it, but I would go with you with those last two players as both being bench players and sprinkling them in throughout the season.
Yeah, agreed. Well, I think that is going to wrap up this video. We hope you enjoyed our breakdown of United's transfer window. Looking forward to the match tomorrow. Chad, are you going to be on the Sheffield United Way call tomorrow?
Yours truly will be behind the mic again.
If you're seeing this before the match tomorrow, definitely be sure to tune into the Sheffield United Way for tomorrow's lunchtime kickoff. But in the meantime, please do follow Red Half of Sheffield on Twitter at Red Sheffield. Follow us on Facebook at the Red Half of Sheffield. Follow us on Instagram at Red Half of Sheffield. And Chad, where can the people follow you on social media?
See Jarvis _13
on all the things. And you can follow me, Noah Snyder, at Sunpuck on Insta and at Nestman930 on Twitter. So until tomorrow, up the blades.
Up the blades.
Come on, you red and white wizards.